Want to see how your CPU air cooler stacks up against all others? Stick around. Welcome back to FTW Tech. I'm your host, Isaiah, and today I have a tier list for you guys. Another one, I know, very exciting. No, but seriously, it is exciting for me. So today we have the CPU air cooler tier list in an effort to make it a little bit shorter than the, keyboards tier list, which was 40 minutes long. We had, I think, 48 keyboards in there. We've got 33 CPU air coolers. There are not as many, like, popular air coolers as there are keyboards out there, so that's a good thing. I don't want this to be way too long, so I've got a bunch of notes written down on my iPad about each cooler, so I will be going through the pluses and minuses of each cooler with you guys as we go along. We've got 5 tiers instead of 10 this time, just the standard S, A, B, C, and D, so let's get into it. The Corsair A500 attempted to capture a market that's very important in the air cooler industry, and that's the super high-end air coolers. So it's $100. So it's competing against some top coolers like the NH-D15, the Assassin III, etc. So it has 2 ML120 non-RGB fans. It has actually worse cooling than the Darkrock Pro 4 at $85, I think that is, and the Deepcool Assassin III. And it has worse noise performance than all the other top coolers. The only redeeming factor is it looks good, but for $100 you can do infinitely better. I am going to put that in D tier for now. It could move up, but it's really, actually no, there's really no reason to. It performs worse thermally and acoustically than ones in its price range, and its price range is very high, so you don't have a big margin of error there. The Deepcool Assassin III is also $100. It has 2 fans, it has an easy installation, it matches the Darkrock Pro 4, it beats the Scythe Ninja 5 quite handily. However, it loses to the popular high-end coolers in terms of noise. I'm going to put this in B tier because it does have that easy installation like I talked about. However, it loses in noise and it matches a lot of the other ones in thermal performance. So I'll put it in B tier for now. The Zalman CNPS16X has a very polarizing design, crazy RGB. It's $70. The installation process is not intuitive at all. It's not good. It has decent performance apparently, but there's not much information on it. I would assume it's probably similar to the Enermax ETS-T50 and probably worse than the Scythe Fuma 2. The design is a lot cooler than this. So we're going kind of performance for its price. So this is going to be a more value-focused tier list, whereas the keyboards one was very just how good is it. Like, I put the K552 Kumara for $35. I put it in the worst mechanical keyboards tier. I mean, the only one below it was, like, membrane keyboards. But it's a very good value board. If I was ranking them in value, I'd probably put it somewhere in the middle, actually, or maybe towards the top. So this one's going to be more value-focused, and because this is cheaper, I'm going to put it in the same tier. But I know that it's... No. I know it's worse than the Fuma 2. I'm going to put it here. Okay. The Zalman CNPS20X is $100. It's on par with all of the other top coolers like the NH-D15, Darkrock Pro 4, Assassin III, whatever. It's as good as all of them. It has a very cool design with 2 RGB fans. Well, not really RGB fans. It's got like an RGB like plate kind of in front of the fans, kind of. But the mounting isn't very good, so I'm going to put it in A tier. It does have an interesting design. I don't love this design specifically, but it looks kind of like better than it appears in pictures. So MSI Core Frozr L. So not a lot of people know that MSI does make air coolers. The Core Frozr L is relatively popular. It's $55. That would be the cheapest one so far. It is beaten in temperatures and noise by top coolers like the Thermalright Legrand Macho RT, for example, which we'll get to. But it has an easy installation. It beats the Be Quiet Pure Rock Slim, at least. The look's kind of weird, though. I'm going to put it in C tier for now. The Be Quiet Darkrock Pro 4 is $90. Okay, 90. I said 85 earlier, 90. It looks better by default than the NH-D15, which is brown. But you can, of course, get the Chromax Black version of the NH-D15, but that bumps up to 100, whereas this is 90. It has slightly better noise performance, but a little bit less cooling than the NH-D15, and the installation's not very good, so I will put it on par with the Assassin III. The Be Quiet Dark Rock Slim is $65. It has one Silent Wings 3 fan. It looks pretty nice, like the other Be Quiet coolers do. The black look, it's pretty cool. Matte black everything. I'm sure Marquez would love it. It's worse than all the Noctua coolers in its price range, however, in terms of performance. It's got good noise performance at stock, like when your CPU is running stock. But it is worse than everything in its price class, but it looks okay. Be Quiet's mounting systems are not known to be that good. I'm going to put it in D tier. The Enermax ETS-T50X RGB is $60. It doesn't have great performance, but it does have good noise, so take that how you will. It's got a cool design. It's black or white, easy installation, and definitely can get better for the same price. I've seen the Core Frozr L perform better on some charts. Like, I've seen it do really well. I definitely think I should have more tiers, to be quite honest. Because it's forcing me to put this pretty low down. I want to have strict standards for the S tier, so you'll see what'll go there. Let's see, where do I want to put this? The performance isn't great, but the noise is pretty good. Comes in 2 colors. It's $60. For that price, you could get the put it here. It's got a cooler design than the Core Frozr L. Worse performance, though. What were the drawbacks of the Core Frozr L again? Beaten in temperatures and noise by the top coolers. It beats the Purox Slim. It looks kind of weird. Yeah, alright, I'll put it there. It has a better look than the Core Frozr L, but worse performance, so I guess take that how you will. The best performing cooler in the C tier so far, I believe, would be the Core Frozr L, but I don't have information about the CNPS16X, because like I said, there really is none. So, the Arctic Freezer 34 eSports Duo is the best deal of any cooler in the world at $50. That is my vehement opinion. That's the cooler I own. You can get it in a variety of colors, like green, red, white, yellow, I think, stuff like that. I don't know, there might be more, but you can get it in many colors. Mine is in white, just like this picture shows. It looks great. It's got the Bionics P13 fans, 2 of them, from Arctic, which those are very good value fans already, and you're putting them on a great heatsink with a cool design. I'm sorry about my dog. Anyways, it looks great. It comes in several colors. There's really nothing to fault. I'm not totally sure how the installation process is right now, but it can't make up for, like, it couldn't possibly be bad enough to take this out of S tier. This cooler is truly phenomenal. So the Arctic Freezer 34 eSports 1 is $40, and at $40, it's a worse value than the Duo. I might price it at $30 or $35 to make it more compelling. Because you're getting a dual fan cooler in the Freezer 34 eSports Duo at just $50, and that makes the Freezer 34 eSports 1 pale in comparison, although the performance is relatively similar, actually. It's got a Bionics P13 fan as well, comes in the same colors. It doesn't have great installation, so I might think that the Freezer 34 eSports Duo doesn't have great installation either, but the performance is so good, and most like average user will be only installing it once, so yeah, really good performance. The mounting hardware, however, that comes with it is not compatible with all AM4 boards, and it really should be compatible with all AM4 boards, so this is an issue for me. That makes me think that the Duo might have the same issue, but remember, guys, this is more of a value ranking, so I am going to put this in A tier, along with the CNPS 20X. That would be the 20X. The 17X is the last cooler in here. The Arctic Freezer 50 is $75. It probably has the best design out of any cooler up here so far. Really cool RGB. It matches all the top coolers in thermals, except the NH-D15, and it's beat out by most top coolers barely in noise. It looks sick though, and at $75, it is cheaper than a lot of the other top coolers, so I will put it in A tier. Actually, I think it's time I reconsider this stuff. Did the CNPS20X, it had bad mounting. Why is it up here? Performs on par with the NH-D15. But so does this, pretty much. I think these might need to be in the same tier, these three. So let's see. The CNPS20X, the Assassin III, it loses to all of them in noise, all the top coolers. Okay, this is a value ranking. This is going to move down. The Dark Rock Pro 4, $90. It looks really good. Less cooling barely than the NH-D15 with a bad installation. Well, I know where the NH-D15 is going, so I'm going to move this up. The Frozr 50 then, it's cheaper than the Dark Rock Pro 4, but has comparable performance. I'm going to move it up too. And this is a value ranking, so I'll leave it as it is. The B tier. What about the Core Frozr L? No, it'll stay where it is. I've seen it actually do very well on some temperature charts, and on others it's been beaten by the top coolers, whereas others it's actually kind of kept up with the top coolers, so kind of confused on where to put that, but I'm going to leave it as it is. Actually, okay, I'll move the Assassin 3 up one. What was the issue? The noise, right? Deepcool Assassin 3. It does beat the Ninja 5 well, though. I don't know about noise, though. I'll put it in B tier for now. All right. We are on to the Deepcool Fryzen. So it's $85. It is compatible with TR4 and AM4, so it's for Threadripper and Ryzen as well, normal Ryzen. So it has surprisingly good RAM clearance for such a beefy cooler. Well, it's actually not that beefy, to be honest, but it has performance matching a lot of these other top ones. So it has no Intel support at all, and that's like a big asterisk for me. I don't understand that one. I know it has Ryzen in the name, but I don't see why they could just not name it something else and make it Intel compatible. It's beaten in noise and performance by comparable and even cheaper Noctua coolers. It has a nice design, but like, for example, the U14S TR4, the Dark Rock Pro TR4 are slightly better for Threadripper. It does have decent installation. It's beaten in noise and performance by comparable ones. What do we do here? $85. That makes it a better value than the Assassin 3, and they are lacking or not lacking in the same areas. My issue is the MSI Core Frozr L, I think, is on par value-wise with these, and this might be on par value-wise as well, the ETS-T50. The CNPS16X, I can't rank it higher because I don't have a lot of information on it, but I assume it would perform pretty well. I guess we'll continue for now. The Scythe Fuma 2, we know where this is going. It is $60. It has two K's Flex fans. Is it Kah-zay Flex? Because I used to say Kah-zay Flex, but I think it's supposed to be K's Flex. I've heard other people say K's Flex. It beats out the Dark Rock Pro 4 in noise and thermals by default. It beats out the Noctua U14S as well. It beats out all coolers in noise when fans are at full speed. So if you've got your fans running at full speed on like an NH-D15 Dark Rock Pro 4 and the Fuma 2, the Fuma 2 will still be quieter. So this board, not talking about motherboards, different video, Isaiah. Wow, okay. Anyways, it's a great cooler. And it's $60. Scythe is so good. They're criminally underrated. I think they are getting the recognition they deserve now. Like, everyone knows that Scythe coolers are good at this point, but like, they should be as well known as Noctua. I'm not sure they are. I do think a lot of people know them now, though. Okay, Deepcool Gammaxx 400 V2 Blue. This is like the ultimate value. It's $20. It has identical performance to the Hyper 212 Evo, which costs more. It has blue LEDs. It's slightly better than the Wraith Prism. It has good thermals, and the noise performance is meh, but it is $20 and matches the $35 Hyper 212 series. Well, the Hyper 212 series, I think, ranges from like $30 to $45, but it matches that, and it's cheaper. And it's got blue LEDs, which if you're doing a blue build, that's great. If it had RGB value-wise, I might move it up to S, but it's $20. What do you expect? I mean, you can't ask for everything. Okay, Cryorig H7. It is $35. The installation is not great. It beats the Hyper 212 in thermals and has similar noise. There's also a $60 version of this, the H7 Quad Lumi, which was a pioneer in RGB CPU air coolers, one of the first, if not really like the first popular one out there, several years ago. And that one was slightly better than the normal H7, but we're doing the normal H7 here. It does beat out the Hyper 212 though, and it is about the same price. So I'll put it here, which means the Hyper 212 will have to go here once we get to it. Oh wait, here it is! The Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo V2. I'm doing the V2 because that is the current Gen 1. But the Hyper 212 Evo and the V2 and the RGB Black Edition, the red LED one, there might be a blue LED one, I don't know. All the Hyper 212s are the same in terms of performance. They're always good value. I already know what's going in B, but I'll go over the stuff. It's got a black Cooler Master Sickle Flow fan. Not sure if it's V2 or not. I know there's V2 RGB Sickle Flow fans. I don't know if there are black V2 Sickle Flow fans yet. It's the most popular line of CPU coolers in history. It has good budget performance, slightly better than the Wraith Prism as well, just like the Gammaxx 400. Same performance as the other version, I already said that. Although it does have better mounting and installation than the original Hyper 212, so that is something to be noted. The Intel stock cooler is free. It has worse performance though than all of the AMD Wraith stock coolers. Bad installation, looks terrible, and is destroyed by even mid-range Cooler Master coolers, such as the Hyper 212 Evo. So this is going to go in D tier. The Scythe Katana 5, it looks so bad. Like, my OCD gets so triggered, and my brain just, when I see this cooler, it angers me. So the heatsink, if you see here, it's got this heatsink behind the fan, but then it has some more heatsink, but it stops like 2/3 of the way down, or like half of the way down. Why? Why have extra heatsink just sitting there? Finish it, or don't include it. There's like half of a heatsink. It's so weird. It's $33. The installation is not good. It has decent thermals, which are in line with others in the same price category, such as the Hyper 212. It has very good noise performance. It looks terrible, and this is one of the only coolers that I'm going to rank poorly because of looks, but I'm sorry, it looks worse than almost every other cooler up here, bar maybe like the Intel stock cooler and stuff like that. The Thermalright Legrand Macho RT is $80, has one fan. It doesn't look good, but it manages to match or beat the NH-D15 in all measurements, and it's cheaper, so that is an S tier product, despite its, not looking good. I'm not totally sure about the installation, didn't see that, I don't have that written down here, but I already know that the NH-D15 is going to be an S tier, and if that can be an S tier, this has to be an S tier. Although the NH-D15, the installation is very easy. Noctua is known for that, so. We haven't gotten to a single Noctua cooler yet, but we've got 3 in this roundup, it seems. Cooler Master MA410M, so I was looking for an RGB CPU cooler, and I found this, and then I realized there are some downsides, so I decided not to get it. It's one of the best looking out there. It is sick, like beyond belief. It has a really cool, like, mirror, like, Cooler Master logo on the front. I'm pretty sure it's got this RGB bar. The fans are sick. Everything about it is sick. The top is black, and then, like, the little, like, dots on it are, like, RGB as well. Really sick. Anyways, $70. Awesome design. Same price as the Dark Rock 4, the non-Pro 4, just the Dark Rock 4. But way worse noise and thermals than that cooler. The noise is absolutely atrocious, but the cooling is okay. The saving grace here would be the RGB design, so I'm going to put it in C. The Cooler Master MA620M is $100. It's basically an AM4 version of a Wraith Ripper, but a little bit smaller, I think. It's got a really cool RGB design as well, a little more understated than the MA410M. It's got easy installation, actually, a good default fan profile, but it's worse than much cheaper Noctua coolers when it's tuned. You know, like when settings are adjusted, it's a lot worse. Like I said, by default, it's like the same, but then when you actually adjust settings on Noctua coolers to be good settings, they will far surpass this cooler. It has bad noise performance as well. At $100, it's got easy installation and a good default profile, so I'll put it here. The Scythe Mugen 5 Revision B is $50. It is barely surpassed by the eSports Duo. It has 1K's Flex fan, very beefy heatsink. It's got good RAM clearance and everything. The Scythe coolers are good at like RAM clearance and stuff, so I'll put it in S tier for sure. The Deepcool Neptwin RGB is $53. It's a bit better than the Hyper 212 Evo. It's got a cool RGB design, but the installation is not great. Like I said, it's a little better than the Hyper 212, but it also costs a lot more money, almost $20 more. So, but it's got that cool design, not great installation. But like I said, it is better, but it's also more expensive, so it should be. So it'll go in the same tier. The Noctua NH-D15, it is $90. It's arguably the best CPU cooler in the world, air cooler. I mean, arguably it's better than every water cooler because it costs less. So the brown looks bad. I would recommend getting the Gammaxx black version for $100. It's got a very long warranty. It's got easy Noctua installation. They are world renowned for their installation process, which is so easy. It's going in S tier. As a reviewer, I can appreciate good installation because when I have to test CPU coolers, I'm going to be, switching them out constantly on the same motherboard and stuff. So I definitely can appreciate that. So, I mean, I haven't done that stuff yet because I haven't built a PC. I'm waiting to get my hands on 3080 and 5600X. But anyways, so the NH-D15S is $80 rather than $90. It's got one fan instead of two, and the fan is right in the middle. I think that looks really weird. Really, really weird. It's like a dual tower cooler, kind of. Like, it's got, like, two different, like, heat sinks. You could, the $90 for the Gammaxx black you could get, but it's kind of a weird look. It's got the easy Noctua installation. It actually beats the NH-D15 at stock. It loses with an overclock. It is similar to the Cryorig H7 in performance, overclocked, actually. It is quieter at stock and with an overclock than most other beefy coolers. So it has some advantages over the H7. However, when overclocked, it's about the same performance as it. And the H7 is way, way cheaper. So, but it does have its pluses. Like, the noise is great and stuff. So I'll put it here. Because this is, like I said, this is a value thing. So the NH-U14S, this is something that's more popular for Threadripper systems, like, because there is a Threadripper version, and it's one of the most popular Threadripper coolers out there. However, I'm talking about the AM4 version here, so I might do a separate tier list for Threadripper coolers, but I don't know. It's $70, it has the easy Noctua mounting system. It falls slightly behind the NH-D15, but matches some other top coolers. It only has one fan, and as it is meant to be slim, it's cheaper, however, and has a better look than the NH-D15S, and for that reason, I'll put it in S tier. The Scythe Ninja 5, it does not have a good look in my opinion. The heatsink is so massive, and rather than kind of separating it with a fan in the middle and a fan on the outside, it's this huge heatsink and then a fan on each side, so it looks kind of weird to me. It's $60, like the Fuma 2. It has 2K's flex fans. It outperforms the Fuma 2 at low fan speeds. It is outmatched by it at higher RPMs, but it looks worse. But I don't want to judge things too harshly based on looks. So the third out of four Scythe coolers in this list is going to go in S tier. I may have accidentally said that there were 3 Scythe coolers in this roundup earlier, but there are 4. Maybe I did. Maybe I also said it about Noctua coolers. Maybe it was only about Noctua coolers. I don't know. So because it has performance in some situations that outperforms the Fuma 2, and sometimes it's less than the Fuma 2, I have to put it in line with the Fuma 2 because that balances out, and they're the same price. So the Be Quiet Pure Rock Slim is $30. It has an easy installation, unlike other Be Quiet coolers. It has much worse thermals, though, than the Hyper 212, but at similar noise levels. Wow. it is $30, and that's a better value than the Dark Rock Slim probably. But maybe not. Should I move the Dark Rock Slim up? Let's see. The Dark Rock Slim, where's my information on that? Not terrible performance though, but it's got good noise performance at stock. Okay, this should be moved up, and this should go below it. Okay. So the Cryorig R1 Ultimate. This is the flagship from Cryorig. It is $100. It has good thermals, but really bad noise. Like worse than much cheaper stuff. I mean, the Moo-gein 5 could probably have better noise than it. So, and it's half the price. It does have super easy installation. It matches the Legrand Macho RT in thermal performance, as well as like the Fuma 2 D15 and Core Frozr L. The Core Frozr L really actually punches above its weight class in a lot of charts. I'm going to put it one higher. But the Cryorig R1 has worse noise than all of them, and it doesn't seem very value-oriented to me. But it does match them in thermals. If I've got the Assassin III in that tier, I'm going to have to put the Cryorig R1 Ultimate there as well, I feel like. So the AMD Wraith Prism, it's free. It's a stock cooler. It is their highest end stock cooler. It doesn't have great installation. In fact, it's worse than the other two Wraith coolers. But it's got nice RGB. It can actually run an overclocked 3900X around 90 degrees Celsius, which I'd be careful around there, as AMD CPUs do throttle at about 95 degrees. So it's right up on that edge. So that's like under like a stress test, I'm pretty sure, but still, that's not great. It's good for use on mid-range chips though, like 3700X, 3800X. If you've got one of those chips, absolutely run this. There's really like not much reason to upgrade. I'll put it in C tier because of value. The AMD Wraith Spire is free as well. Of course, it's a stock cooler. It has easier installation than the Prism, but it's nothing crazy, nothing great. It's nicely in the middle of the Stealth and the Prism, and that's where it should be. It matches the $15 Deepcool Gammaxx 200T, so not terrible value. And it has RGB on the newer model, so the newer model is pictured. It does have to be above the Intel stock, and for that reason, it will go in C. The AMD Wraith Stealth is free. It looks better than the Intel stock cooler. It performs better than the Intel stock cooler, and it has decent installation. That is much better than the Intel stock cooler. All of the AMD chips are great value, but not great performance, so they're all going to go in the same tier, side by side, where they belong. Finally, I added this later, so like you would have thought alphabetically, because this is alphabetically based on how I named the pictures. So like Freezer 34 eSports Duo, like I wasn't doing the company names, but I was doing like, for example, Gammaxx 400, Moo-gein 5, so like it would be alphabetically that way. And this is CNPS17X. However, I added it after I added the other ones, because I actually never intended to include the CNPS16X in this roundup. I did originally, and then I was like, wait, no, I don't want to do that actually. So, but like then I had the picture in here, so I just like left it because I didn't want to like get rid of everything. So, and then I had to add the CNPS17X, which I actually did need to put in. So it's $70. It has a nice RGB design. It's just a smaller CNPS20X. It's very good. It has one fan as opposed to two. Easy installation, unlike the CNPS20X. Decent performance, but it's technically a worse value than the 20X, but it also has better installation. The 20X was $100 though, right? Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. I'll put it in the same tier. So this is it. This is my CPU air cooler tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed. We have some pretty bad coolers down here. Some here that you might want to consider. I mean, definitely the AMD stocks. I'd consider the Scythe Katana 5 if you don't care about looks at all, or you're doing like maybe an SFF PC and you won't see it anyways. In terms of value, the Scythe Katana 5 would go in B tier, but because it looks so bad, I had to move it down. I'd consider this if you like don't care or won't see it in your system, and I'd consider these as well. Everything else in this tier, I would not consider at all, except maybe the CNPS16X. I felt obligated to put it in this tier because there's really no information on it. In this tier, we have the Assassin III, which has not very good noise. The Deepcool Fryzen was the issue with that noise as well. Beaten, and yeah, it was beaten by other Noctua coolers and stuff, but it has a good installation. So I wouldn't consider these just because you can get better value at the same price. I really wouldn't. The Hyper 212, yeah, sure, you can consider it. You should probably get the Gammaxx 400 instead, though, as it's the same in terms of performance, actually. Yeah, no, don't consider it. Get the Neptwin. I mean, not the Neptwin, the Gammaxx. The Neptwin is next, so the Neptwin RGB, what was the stuff with that? A little better than the Hyper 212 Evo. Installation's not great, but it's also more expensive. It should be a lot better than the Hyper 212 Evo. I'd maybe consider this if you really want an RGB cooler. Core Frozr L can compete with actually the top coolers in some instances, but has, I believe, like bad, I think the issue with it was bad installation and stuff. Oh no, it has easy installation, but it has a weird look. And it's beaten in temperatures and noise by some top coolers. That's not a downside. It's $55. You can't expect it to beat all of them. This needs to move up. This really needs to move up. This is a good cooler. Consider it, please. The Cryorig R1 Ultimate is this one, correct? Where do I have the H7? The H7 is... where? Oh, okay, it's an A tier. So this is the R1 Ultimate. It's not as good as... it tries to compete in a market where it should not. Really, really bad noise. That's why it's here. Don't consider it. You got the Zalman CNPS20X. Yeah, I'd consider it. I'd absolutely consider this. I'd absolutely consider this. It has a good look for a slightly lower price than the Noctua stuff. I'd consider that. It's good. That's good too. This is extraordinary for the price. Very, very good. Come to think of it, Cryorig H7. For value, it can actually match some of the top tier coolers. I'm gonna leave it here. It doesn't look good. I'll leave it here, but definitely consider it. Consider it. It looks bad, but if you won't see it and you don't care, consider it. It's the D15S, pretty good. The CNPS17X. It's cheaper than the CNPS20X. Slightly worse value, but better installation, so that's where it lands. The MSI Core Frozr L can actually match some other top coolers. It's only $55. Has a kind of weird look, but it's pretty good. And then everything in this tier is absolutely phenomenal. The cheapest stuff in this tier would be the Arctic Freezer 34 eSports Duo, the Scythe Mugen 5 Revision B, and the Scythe Ninja 5. If I were you, I'd get the Mugen 5 or the eSports Duo, as they perform pretty similarly, but the eSports Duo looks better. Doesn't have great installation, but this is the jack of all trades, master of many as well. So, well, jack of all trades, just got the installation. So bottom line, buy the eSports Duo. Why are we even here? See you guys.